All right, guys, welcome to Pause Menu Society. This is our very first episode, our very first podcast episode. We do have two videos on our YouTube channel. We covered the PlayStation, the most recent PlayStation State of Play, as well as the Nintendo Partner Direct. We do have another host. They are handling some family things at the moment, so we wish them the best, and hopefully they will be joining us on the next episode. Again, though, this is Pause Menu Society. I go by the name of Derrick for real, aka the last native tongue. Got my brother Killa Kolby, aka Killa Frat. The hardest
Yo.
nigga on the periodic table, aka my dog Sterling Silver.
What's happening?
It's been shit ever since Cat Williams went on Club Shay Shay. It's been something. So the shit never stops around here. Number one, I want to start with obviously we want to send our condolences to the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Jesse Jackson, a civil rights icon, passed away at 84. Statement from his children. Our father was a servant leader, not only to our family, but to the oppressed, the voiceless, and the overlooked around the world. He was a Baptist minister, two-time presidential candidate whose booming oratory and populist message propelled the civil rights movement in the decades after the assassination of the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. Again, Jesse passed away on Tuesday, the 17th. The Reverend Al Sharpton, civil rights leader, said in a statement that, quote, "Our nation lost one of its greatest moral voices and paid tribute to a man who carried history in his footsteps and hope in his voice. Reverend Jackson stood wherever dignity was under attack, from apartheid abroad to injustice at home. His voice echoed in boardrooms and in jail cells. Cause of death was not immediately given. Jackson's family said he died peacefully, surrounded by his loved ones. He had been admitted to the hospital in November and had been living for more than a decade with progressive supranuclear palsy, according to his Rainbow Push Coalition. PSP affects patients' ability to walk and swallow and can lead to dangerous complications. Jesse did reveal that he was suffering from Parkinson's in 2017. Again, peaceful transition. Best wishes and condolences to the Jackson family. To walk in Jesse Jackson's shoes had to be something. This man was literally on the balcony when Dr. King was killed and went on to be a two-time presidential candidate and just one of the leading voices of our community and our culture. So, of course, we want to send light and love to the Jackson family. Other than that, what's up with y'all brothers? What's going on?
Not much, man. Just another day. Keeping it moving and pushing, brother. That's about it.
I hear you. KG, what's going on with you?
Yeah, about the same, bro. I might have to have surgery in down sometime soon, though.
Word, what's going on?
I got a crack joint in my hip or something like that. So
Damn.
I gotta get that right.
Speedy recovery, bro.
Speedy recovery, brother. Speedy recovery.
I definitely know about surgeries. I had probably, I think it was 4 just last year alone, bro. So
Yeah,
definitely speedy recovery then.
we've all taken our turn under the knife. I have 2 titanium plates in my face. I had my appendix ruptured. They had to clean that up. And then I had some scar tissue years later. Of course, we want to wish our brother a very, very speedy recovery. Crazy shit has been going on real quick. I want to talk about this. Michael Jackson's Moonwalker is coming to Netflix. I don't have an exact date, but it is coming. Let me just double check and see if we have a date. Mid-February 2026. It's in a staggered release phase and may not be available immediately worldwide. Okay. So
I was gonna say that should be around now then.
yeah, it could be coming anytime at this point. Shout out to Mike though. Love Michael Jackson. Everybody like that's the shit we grew up on. Our parents grew up on it because they go all the way back to the Jackson 5, but also we come up in the Thriller, Bad, Dangerous era. I was listening to Invincible today, and that's a very, very slept on Mike album. So I can't wait to see the movie. What are y'all? I'm day one. What about y'all?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely day one. My son Savion is a real big Mike fan, so we gonna make a time out of it and sit down and watch it for sure.
If it ain't day one for me, it'd probably be that Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah, that's a day one. My coworkers want to go see it. Like, we watched the trailer at work and shit like that. Like, everybody's excited about this. It looks like they got it right. I'm not gonna hold you. Coleman Domingo really looks like fucking Joe. Nia Long looks pretty much like Catherine. Jafar does kind of look like Michael, even though he's Jermaine's son. I wonder if they're going to touch on that Michael Jermaine beef. Like, if they're going to cover the fact that Jermaine released that diss track about Mike or anything like that. But I'm just really excited for this film, dog. I think this is going to be a great biopic. The allegations will not be a part of it. As part of the settlement, from my understanding, they could never like be included in any sort of biopic. Apparently the producers didn't know this when they were shooting the film. Remember, the film was actually supposed to come out last year. That's why the date got pushed. They had to go back and do reshoots because they had to pull all of the stuff out of the film. There's still the rumor. A lot of people think it's going to end up being 2 movies. They think this first one is going to cover his childhood up to Bad or so. And then the second part of the film is going to cover Dangerous up until his death. I don't know how true that is, but we shall see. But yeah, that's a day one for me.
That's gonna be wild though, because a lot of his life after Dangerous, a lot of his life was hidden. So, especially up until his death, which I mean, I guess if it's coming from recollection from other people, then that would be cool. But at that point, they could just put shit how they want to put it. So that's gonna be kind of weird.
I don't know what, like, so after Dangerous, there's the History album, which is like a compilation. So it's like new material, but then it's like, I think the second or third disc was like all his classic material. Blood on the Dance Floor, Invincible, where he finally merged the ATV publishing catalog with Sony. But after that, up until like This Is It and he passes away, there, like, especially if you have to take out like all the allegations and charges, Michael was, I'm not gonna say he was a recluse, but like, I don't know
he
what
wasn't.
he just wasn't out there like that. A better question, I thought about the Prince rivalry. Do we think we see that in the film?
Well, it's only a few people that's really talking about that. I don't know if you've been seeing Teddy Riley.
So behind me on the TV, he's sitting in the shop with Matt Hoffa and them.
Right. So he was just on Joe, and he was just on. I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was either Drink Champs or Rory and Maul. It was one of the two. But he's been telling the part of the beef of how them niggas got into it when they was up on the stage with James Brown.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
Then will.i.am speak on that too?
Say what?
He did.
Then
will.i.am went over.
Oh, that's right.
will.i.am was there. Yep.
Well, will.i.am took him. Prince had a residency in Vegas, if I'm not mistaken, and he invited Michael to go with him, and Mike did, and then they got up there, and Prince was like playing this fucking guitar, and he was in Mike's face. So the next day, I guess Mike called will.i.am and was like, "Why was Prince playing the guitar in my face like that? I don't like that," and called him a meanie or some shit like that. I don't know, man. Shout out to Prince though. Rest in peace to Prince as well. Fucking legend. Genius. Absolute genius.
For sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the movie looks good. They got an A-list cast. Miles Teller's playing John Branca. I can't think of his name right now, but he was in Insecure with Issa Rae. He's playing Quincy. I think Derek Luke is Barry Gordy, if I'm not mistaken. Let me pull up the cast real quick. I don't want to be misquoted. Let's see who we got. Okay. So Jafar Jackson as Michael, Miles Teller as John Branca, Kat Graham as Diana Ross, Coleman Domingo as Joe, Giuliano Valdi as young Michael, Kendrick Sampson as Quincy Jones, Laura Harrier as Suzanne DePass. I'm sorry, Derek Luke as Johnny Cochran, Nia Long as Katherine Jackson, Lorenz Tate is playing Barry Gordy.
Barry Gordy, yep.
Okay. Teresa Palmer is playing Debbie Rose, so the kids are going to be part of this. This is interesting. Jessica Sula, LaToya, Nathaniel Logan McIntyre is Jackie, Jamal Henderson is Jermaine, Emily Zapotny as Sheryl Crow. Okay. So they going into the band because Sheryl Crow was part of Michael's band. Jaden Harville looks like a young Jermaine. Trey Horton is Marlon. The dude they got playing Tito is kind of dark. I'm not going to hold you.
Well, they got 2 Marlons. They got Jalen London Hunter is young Marlon, and Trey Hunter is Olin.
Okay. Kevin Schnick is Dick Clark. Judah Edwards. This Judah kid actually looks like Tito. This Ryan Hill kid doesn't really look like Tito. People has a side by side. Let's see. Giuliano or Juliano is young Michael. Not bad. Jafar does look like, 20s Michael. Okay, I see where you at now. This kid does look like Tito. The
Mhm.
picture, okay, so the picture on Google isn't great. He got Tito's smile. This might, like, do we know if Tito had illegitimate kids? Because,
I
yeah.
imagine all them niggas had illegitimate kids.
Hey,
Shit.
what'd he say? We was the first niggas in LA with Ferraris.
Right.
Young Marlon, not too far off. Jermaine, okay. Coleman Domingo really looks like Joe Jackson. Nia Long looks like a young Catherine. I think they knocked it out the park. Miles Teller, kind of looks like John Branca. I don't know. I think mostly they knocked the casting out the park. If they gonna do the bad video, who the hell is gonna play the Wesley Snipes part? That's my question. I don't know. It don't matter. But that's a day one for me. I'm there day one, regardless. I'm there day one. I can't wait to see this joint. I want to talk really briefly about this. So listeners, listen up. I have a Patreon where I cover gaming extensively, but this broke today, so I want to talk about it really quickly. Jason Schreier of Bloomberg reported this afternoon. I was like, I don't know how true this is, and then I started seeing it everywhere, and they were forced to make it an actual statement. This comes from our good friends over at IGN. PlayStation shuts down Demon's Souls Shadow of the Colossus remake studio Bluepoint Games. Its live service God of War title was canceled January of last year. PlayStation has shut down Bluepoint Games, the studio behind the remakes of both Shadow of the Colossus and Demon's Souls. This comes from Bloomberg, which confirmed the news with PlayStation. Roughly 70 employees are going to be impacted by the closure when it officially occurs next month. Quote, Bluepoint Games is an incredibly talented team, and their technical expertise has delivered exceptional experiences for the PlayStation community. The PlayStation spokesperson told Bloomberg, we thank them for their passion, creativity, and craftsmanship. This is, I'm not going to go too deep into it because there's other stuff I want to talk about as well. This is 100% Jim Ryan and Herman Hulst's fault. I don't know, the idea that they had to push Sean Layden and Shuhei Yoshida out at Sony was a grave mistake. Sean Layden was amazing for first-party studios when it was SIE Worldwide before they renamed it PlayStation Studios. I will have more of this on my show next week, The Week in Gaming, but this is an absolute disaster. KG, you got thoughts on this?
Say it again.
Any thoughts on this? PlayStation shut down Bluepoint Studios?
I mean, shit, at this point, everybody shut down something. Like, a lot of games getting canceled, all kind of shit going on.
This is because Sony... Here's the thing. You can catch lightning in a bottle every now and then, right? But it's rare.
Right.
Every game can't be Fortnite, every game can't be Call of Duty, and every game can't produce because there's been a million clones since Fortnite and like everybody has a first-person shooter or has attempted to make a first-person shooter. The closest that anybody has gotten to Call of Duty is Battlefield. In the Battle Royale space, Apex Legends maybe is the second best, but nobody was going to be able to replicate what Fortnite did. They call lightning in a bottle. The reason Fortnite was so successful is it appealed to kids. The kids who were 8 to, we'll say 7 to 14, who would get into gaming, not very serious enough to really get into Call of Duty and care about stuff like that. But you could do the emotes. You got kids who could do the dances and shit like that. And then they went and they got all that licensed content. When Thanos showed up, I was like, okay, this is cool. Then you have, remember, we all played that X-Men season or that Marvel, like Marvel Avengers season where they had all them. You throw Spider-Man in, you throw Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, RoboCop, Master Chief, etc. They just kept getting all this licensed content. Back to the Future, Ninja Turtles, NFL, NBA. Then you get a Travis Scott concert on the island and stuff like that. Nobody else was going to be able to replicate that. But the fact of the matter is, Sony saw all the money that Fortnite was making, and they got greedy because PlayStation owns a small percentage of Epic Games. So they were making money hand over fist either way. Plus, they were getting a percentage off of every item sold in the shop. They saw that and got greedy, and they decided we're going to greenlight 12 live service games. This fall will be 6 years into the PlayStation 5 life cycle, and we have yet to have a new Naughty Dog first-party game. We don't know what the fuck Sony Bend is working on. God of War Ragnarok was cross-platform. It was on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5. Jim Ryan and Herman Hulst destroyed the PlayStation 5 because they decided we need a bunch of live service games.
I saw that. I saw somewhere, I don't know how true it was, that they pushed the PlayStation 6 back to 28, 29
28 or 29 because
29, yeah.
Well, the reason for that, I understand that. The same reason console life cycles used to be 5 to 6 years, right? The Nintendo landed in the US in 85 and the Super Nintendo came out in 91. And then the Nintendo 64 came out in 95 or 96. I can't remember exactly. So it used to be 5 to 6 years. The GameCube was 2001. The Wii was 2006. Yeah, the Wii was 2006. It came out the same weekend as the PlayStation 3. What happened was we hit that recession during the second Bush administration and the housing market and all that stuff. Remember, a bunch of people bought houses they couldn't afford. These automobile manufacturers, like they needed government bailouts and stuff like that. So that's why the PS3 and 360 generation ran a little longer than it was supposed to. This generation, of course, these consoles launched while we were still like in the pandemic. But the truth about this is the fact that it's AI. Because everybody's using ChatGPT and Grok and OpenAI and Sora and all that stuff. Everybody's pivoting to AI. So what they're doing is building these huge AI data centers, and all of that stuff is running off of RAM. So these same 2 RAM sticks that I have in my PC, they were $75 when I built my PC. These same 2 RAM sticks, when I looked last month, were $450.
Damn,
that's crazy.
So yeah, they don't. So we're dealing with a memory shortage. Like you saw how NVIDIA, I think they cut 2 of the cards from their GPU lineup and stuff like that. Like Nintendo is apparently looking at raising the price on the Switch 2. The thing ain't even been out a full year yet. Like everybody keeps using AI, and that's going to affect memory. Like we're going to run into memory shortages, and that's what's really going to push the PlayStation 6 back. Microsoft is apparently still coming to market next year with the next Xbox console. They're calling it a premium hybrid PC/console. And it's going to come at a premium price. Some people are saying $1,000 to $1,500.
Yeah,
and if you couldn't sell if you couldn't sell a console at $400 and $500, you certainly ain't selling one at $1,500. That's just not going to happen.
Right.
So they just need to go.
And I think they cutting the paywall. They cutting the paywall too. They cutting the paywall off of it, of this new console too.
Here's my thing. If I'm Sony, and I don't want to have a long-winded conversation about this. Like I said, I will talk about this more in detail on my Patreon. That's patreon.com/Derrick If I'm Sony, whether my games are on Steam or not, and Microsoft is going to offer all gaming storefronts on this new console/PC, if I'm Sony, I'm filing an injunction and blocking that. There's no way I'm going to let you play my first-party titles on an Xbox piece of hardware. That's just not happening. That's just not happening. They've got to do something. There's no way I would let that happen. But again, Sony just shut down Blue Point Games, and they're one of the best studios that was part of PlayStation Studios. So I don't know. Herman Hulst seems to be brain dead at this point, but we'll get to that. Like I said, I will talk about that more on my Patreon. I just think it's an absolute fucking mistake, though. That's all I'm saying. What else do we have? So this is breaking news. This also came out today. Do we want to get into... Do y'all want to cover this now? This NBA tanking situation?
We can.
I mean, we can. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So this is what's going on. The NBA plans to enact anti-tanking rules next season. All right. So this is what the Commissioner Adam, this is coming directly from ESPN. Commissioner Adam Silver informed the league's 30 general managers Thursday that the NBA plans to make anti-tanking rule changes for next season. The league's office's conversations with stakeholders from the Board of Governors, Competition Committee, and GMs have been intensifying dialogue about combating tanking, including starting to propose potential concepts for changes in December during its meeting with owners. Multiple sources with knowledge of Thursday's meeting, as well as late January Competition Committee meeting, told ESPN that these concepts have been discussed to curb tanking. So here's what's going to happen. First round draft picks can be protected only for top 4 or top 14 plus selections. Lottery odds will freeze at the trade deadline or a later date. So whatever your odds are at the trade deadline, they don't like. You can try to tank for the rest of the season. It ain't gonna matter. It's not gonna get you more ping pong balls. No longer allowing the team to pick in the top 4 in consecutive. Halliburton, right?
Yeah,
So
Halliburton, yeah.
the Pacers lose Halliburton, but they don't get a lottery pick the next season because they were in the conference finals the year before.
That's wild. I don't know if
crazy.
I like that.
Lottery odds allocated based on 2-year records. Lottery extended to include all play-in teams and flatten odds for all lottery teams. Now, during Thursday's GM meeting, Silver, the NBA office, and league's 30 top team executives shared a desire to have ongoing discussions to safeguard the integrity of the sport. Silver was described as, quote, forceful with his message about wanting to solve the problem that has gained steam across the league in recent weeks. Sources said Mike Krzyzewski, the senior advisor to basketball operations for the league office, delivered a message at Thursday's meeting that there should be a prompt, tasteful attack on the problem and that all involved should be prepared to respond to what the league enacts in the coming months and year. During his All-Star Weekend news conference, Silver said that tanking has been worse this year than we've seen in recent memory and that he has considered every possible remedy to combat the problem. Earlier Thursday, Phoenix Suns owner Matt Abisha sounded off on the issue and called tanking much worse than any prop bet scandal in a lengthy post on X. I'm still calling it Twitter. Last week, the NBA fined the Jazz $500,000 and the Indiana Pacers $100,000, saying both teams sat healthy players in recent games. The league noted that the moves compromises integrity and won't be tolerated. Indiana's bad because they lost Halliburton. Like, let's just be real.
Yeah, and them niggas are still they losing, but they still being competitive in games. So you can't really say that they doing the shit that the Utah Jazz is doing. Let's say Atlanta Hawks is doing.
Yeah.
The Wizards are just bad, but now that they got Anthony Davis and Trey Young, they already sat Anthony Davis for the rest of the year, and that nigga has a broken hangnail or some bullshit like that.
A broken hangnail.
Yeah, when he was with Dallas, you know, he was out for a while with the eye injury when he first got there. Then he came back and played with Cooper for like maybe 2 weeks. So out of those 2 weeks, it might have been maybe a 4 or 5 game stretch. And that nigga had something go wrong with his quote unquote finger. Come find out it was like basically the nail or the tip of his finger. And they just literally set that nigga for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I'm playing GTA on goddamn Twitch.
So it's interesting. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say is interesting is to see if they actually going to play Trey Young since he came over injured at some point this year. Is he going to try to come back or are they just going to sit him for the rest of the year as well?
So what's interesting to me is that they had these meetings, but this comes out a day after. Did you see? I think Stephen A might have been one who said this. I know there was a couple people. I saw Stan Van Gundy say this yesterday, that the NBA should eliminate the draft altogether and allow college players to be free agents when they enter the league. And this is about the dumbest thing I've ever fucking heard, because that cannibalizes half the league. More than half the league.
Because
the small market teams have no
go to Milwaukee.
No, but and the funny thing was Milwaukee was the first team I brought up. Nobody's going to want to go to Milwaukee. Like, they're going to go to the Lakers. The Clippers still have a chance at that point because it's still LA. The Knicks, maybe even the Nets. The Bulls, this would actually help the Bulls because Chicago is a pretty large market and they are one of the NBA's premier franchises, despite the fact that they haven't won anything since the Derrick Rose era. But Memphis, they would be cooked. I tell you who's definitely cooked. The Toronto Raptors. The Canadian dollar is worth less than the US dollar. Nobody would willingly go to Canada. Nobody would willingly go to Canada, be cold for the better part of the year, and make less money.
Yeah,
the small market teams would not survive. So it's interesting that everybody floated this idea yesterday, and then this comes out today. Who does this hurt if they actually enact this?
OKC.
You think so?
Because they not only are they a small market team.
Well, I'm saying if they did away with the draft. By the time Shy and what's the Chet and all them, by the time they've gone past their peak and it's time to rebuild, then yeah, if you eliminate the draft, nobody wants to go to Oklahoma. The many times we drove through Oklahoma going through Texas, it's desolate. Like Oklahoma City,
nobody want to go there.
Yeah, so
the only thing that's going to help them though is them niggas actually still have all them fucking draft picks from when they got rid of Russell and Paul George.
Sam Presti is a genius. I will always I will die on that hill. Sam Presti is a genius for what he was able to do in Oklahoma City. In particular, though, this draft situation, that if they change the lottery and how it's done, like the Sixers, how many years were they tanking? And they were calling it the process. Trust the process. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Nerlens Noel. Who was the other boy? He didn't pan out. Fuck, what was his name? The little light skinned kid.
I know you talking about.
Yeah,
Fultz, Markelle Fultz.
Fultz,
Markelle Fultz.
I think he out the league now. Shit.
I would imagine so. Is Nerlens Noel still in the league? Shit.
No, he out. I don't, if he is, he a bet on somebody's roster. He ain't getting no tick.
Yeah, so
I'm surprised Ben Simmons still on the league.
No, he out. That nigga's out.
Fuck, Jahlil Okafor.
Ben
was another one.
Shit.
Yeah, so like we saw the Sixers just continue to tank and
Jahlil
tank
Okafor?
and tank. Jahlil Okafor, Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons,
Wow.
Nerlens Noel. That's 4 picks right there. The only one that they still have is your man, Joel Embiid.
Yeah.
And that's Philadelphia. So it's like, if they push this, the Bulls made all those moves. And when they started making these moves, I was like, okay, maybe they have a plan. Maybe they're going to go try to get such and such. Like it was rumored like Zion wants to play in Chicago. So it's like, okay, maybe will he get his act together? Just, you got to leave that BBL shit in New Orleans, right? But like, come to the Windy City, get your act together. And they did all that. And I'm thinking, are they clearing cap space? Like, what are they doing? And it's just like the roster, we got a bunch of guards that are under 6'7". Like the Bulls have a like all of that to trade away Kobe White. Like, come on, bro. So with this new draft situation, the middle of the pack teams are going to be hurt the most.
Especially Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, and again, if they were to eliminate the draft, a team like the Hornets, they had like if they were to actually get rid of the draft, the small market teams are dead. They're dead in the water. Nobody wants to go to Milwaukee, like we said. Nobody's going to want to go to Memphis. Nobody's going to want to go to Oklahoma City. If this Vegas franchise is really going to come true, then we'd expect some players to want to go to Vegas. But your Lakers, your Clippers, your Knicks, your Bulls, the rich are going to get richer. Your Miami Heat, you know what I'm saying? The rich are going to get richer, and those small market teams are going to suffer. So they can't get rid of the draft.
A lot of these small market teams, though, is literally 1 or 2 pieces away. Charlotte Hornets is 1 or 2 pieces away from being shit. They actually fighting for the playoffs now.
They just brought they're bringing in LiAngelo Ball.
Bringing in LiAngelo.
They bringing in LiAngelo Ball. Yeah. Unless there was a fake pose. Let me see. LiAngelo Ball.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Oh, he was rapping.
Oh, it was a viral rumor. It's not real, apparently.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah,
Okay.
them niggas got a squad. So I mean, one pick in the draft can have them where they need to be if they don't get rid of Ball.
I understand they have to do something about this tanking rule. They for sure have to do something.
They in a
about
play-in
that.
slot right now.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but something definitely has to be done about this tanking. I mean, shit, San Antonio for years was kind of on that in the beginning. They was one of the first ones sitting niggas. It really wasn't tanking, but that was
that's the thing. Everybody respected Pop so much, and he would just sit guys. He like when they got a little longer in the tooth as they came toward the end of their career. How many times did we see him sit Tony Parker or see him sit Tim Duncan, this, that, and the third? And the league didn't do anything because the league loved Pop, loved him, but they didn't do anything. You gotta start punishing people. Like you should have started then. Everybody is of the same mind that a lot of the shit that's going on in the NBA over the past 10, 12, 13, 14, 15 years, whatever the fuck Adam Silver took over is a result of Adam Silver being weak as a commissioner of the NBA. Right or wrong?
No, that's a fact.
Like this shit going on with the Clippers and Kawhi, David Stern would have sent his ass packing to Aruba. Like, you get the fuck out the country. You didn't dig a single fucking tree. You're circumventing the salary cap. He'd have been gone.
When last time he played?
Kawhi, he's been playing, and he been putting up numbers too.
Like a full season. Like he
oh God,
missed time every season, right?
I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, no, he didn't even play the full season this year. But if he did, I mean, what he looking like the second half of the season, he damn near looking like MVP.
He is.
He's
he really
killing
is.
shit right now. So I mean, and they pretty much got rid of they got rid of James Harden. They ain't got shit over there. So it's almost.
I mean,
like
they got Darius Garland in exchange
for
James Harden. I hear you.
But shit, Darius Garland came over on an injury, and he's injury prone. They didn't do nothing but bring another nigga in there that's gonna sit 30, 40 games in a year.
I just seen the highlight with James Harden throw a oop to Mitchell.
Yeah, I'm
I
watching
promise you,
these
since
games right now as we speak.
I promise
Is
you, that's the
Cleveland
fastest
the
I ever
favorite in the
seen
East at
James
this
Harden
point?
run.
Nah, I'm watching Detroit playing the
Nah.
Knicks right now. Detroit's the number 1 seed, and these niggas look like
Yeah, they got like
the
Bad
98
Boys
Bulls right now.
2.0. Bad Boys
Yeah, these
2.0.
niggas look crazy.
I don't
They
know,
thumping
man.
the shit out the Knicks 90-78 right now. So
God damn. All right, so this anti-tanking shit, are we for it or against it?
against
no,
that.
they got to do something, and more so than that, they got to start hitting these motherfucking owners in their pocket. They got to start putting out major fines.
Yeah, I'm for
Right.
it. I think they probably need to tweak things a little bit, but I'm definitely for it. This shit has got to stop. Like, if you're just bad and that's just what it is. Like, the Pistons, for example, they were just a bad team. They didn't, like, Cade Cunningham is like the only top pick they have. Like, Jaden Ivey and all those boys, like, they got some pretty high draft picks, but Cade Cunningham is their only number 1 overall pick, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, he's the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
One of the twins, I think they got him like in the like 4th or 5th. And then Ivy and all them was just they was lottery. But
yeah, but they got guys that came in and worked hard and they built a culture. They found a fit. And then when you look at them niggas, they just kind of feel like the type of niggas that the Pistons like. When you had the bad boy Pistons, it's like, all right, it's Isaiah's team. We just got to find the right motherfuckers to put around him. And when him and Adrian Dantley didn't get along, get this nigga out of here. Go get Isaiah homeboy. Bring Mark Aguirre up here. Dennis Rodman, John Sally. They all fit. Rick Mahorn, Bill Lambert, who I hate to this day. But they all fit. All right, well, this don't work. We get a couple of rings. Then we got to deal with Mike and them. Mike knock us off. All right, we down. We go get this Grant Hill kid. If Grant Hill doesn't get hurt, we don't know what happens to Detroit at that point. All right, some years, we got to rebuild. Okay, the Wizards don't want Rip Hamilton. We'll take him.
Speaking of injured, do y'all think Shaq would have got a ring at Orlando if Penny didn't get hurt?
No, because them two niggas couldn't get along.
Who couldn't get along?
Shaq and Penny.
They couldn't.
Well, Shaq and Kobe didn't get along. If Mike stays retired, yes. If Mike does not stay retired, no. Them niggas don't get a ring just like nobody else didn't get a ring. Simple as that.
Look, I'm telling you, the difference is Kobe worked harder than a lot. Like, people like, who is Kobe's, comparison, like, bag-wise? A lot of people was like Tracy McGrady, and they were like, really? And he was like, yeah, the difference is Kobe just worked harder. Shaq and Penny, like, for Kobe, he knew he was going to get his money one way or the other because he was just destined to be a superstar. Shaq didn't like when, like, remember, Shaq wanted Penny. They took Chris Webber first, and Shaq was pissed, and then they traded him the same night, but Shaq told them go get Penny. When Penny became what he became for those, like, we'll say those 2 years before he became injury prone, like, Penny was out this world. Like, come on, Chris Rock and Tyra Banks commercials. Shaq was like, this is my team, and I'm not taking a back seat to anybody. Because eventually they came up with the money, but really it was just like, that's not
the case. They didn't give him what he asked for.
They didn't give him what he asked for, but the Lakers didn't either. Jerry West was short by like $5 million, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, $5 million is bigger than almost $20 million, though.
Orlando got kind of close. What did they give him? They offered 116 or something like that. Let me check.
Yeah, he was asking for 150, and then he got 130 from the Lakers, or 135.
And Orlando said they're not matching it.
Yeah, they said they wasn't matching it. He would have stayed.
Oh, no,
okay.
Yeah, no, it wasn't even close. Okay, so initially it was 4 years, 54, and Shaq felt it was a lowball offer. Then it was increased to 7 years, 115. So yeah, he only got $5 million more from the Lakers, but he ended up getting 3 rings. So, like, yeah, I don't know. Penny getting hurt is one of the biggest, like, what ifs in the NBA. But again, they were never going to replicate young Shaq. People forget, like, if you weren't around to see it, when Shaq could run the floor and he was leaner and stuff like that, he was a fucking monster.
Yeah.
He was a fucking monster. So, again, Penny not getting hurt is the question. That's the big question.
The closest thing to Shaq in Orlando was Dwight Howard.
Dwight Howard in his prime in Orlando, yeah. Yeah. Could run the floor. Dwight shot free throws better, but that's probably his biggest comp, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody else was as close. But and you see how Shaq treated Dwight Howard. It was ego. No, I'm the only Superman around here.
Right. And Dwight gave him his props most of the time before Shaq started talking negative about him.
Shaq and Penny had that conversation when they did that 30 for 30, but with Shaq, especially when he was younger, it was a lot of ego. And he had to eat it. Like when they lost to the Pistons and they had the after party, and he said to Kobe, he was like, at the after party, I saw Dr. Bus come sit next to you and your wife, and he was like, shit, I'm in trouble at this point. And he knew at that point, he was like, a couple days later, he saw on ESPN that they was taking offers on trading him. He was like, yeah, Shaq's ego got in the way a lot of the fucking time. But I mean, he's still Shaq at the end of the day. Him and Penny, I don't know, man. I was talking to somebody about that the other day. Like, everybody assumed the Orlando Magic were the team of the future and they were going to get 4, 5, 6 titles and stuff like that. And
they was built for it.
They were built for it.
But
yeah, they just blew it up too quick.
So they tried to blame everything on Nick Anderson missing those free throws in game 1. They still got swept. I will admit that game 1 was Nick Anderson's fault, because you got to be able to hit free throws, bro. But they got swept. Let's not act like they didn't get swept. The other 3 games were not Nick Anderson's fault. They were young. It was their first time. Everybody gets slapped. Like, name me a team that got to either the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup Final, Super Bowl, whatever, and generally didn't get slapped in the face the first time, other than the Patriots. And some people still believe that the Rams got paid to lose that game.
Yeah, I still think my boy got paid to lose that game.
Like, even the Oilers lost to the Islanders their first time in the Stanley Cup. Now they said when they walked past their locker room after the deciding game, they was like, damn, we got to walk past their locker room to go to the bus. And they thought they was going to walk past and see them in there celebrating. They was like, they were in there with ice bags all over themselves. There was no champagne or anything like that. And Wayne Gretzky was like, okay, so this is what we have to do to win. They gave everything. Because if you give everything in a moment where you're supposed to be celebrating and you can't even move, then you actually gave everything. But we got to remember, Houston was the defending champion at that time. And This is what Hakeem was like.
Now that I look at it, though, so Houston won what, 95, 96?
Yeah,
they won. No, Houston won
94, 95.
Yeah, 94,
they won
95.
93, 94, 94, 95.
And
they won back to back, and then they came back 95, 96. Yeah.
If Penny don't get hurt, 3 championships in a row that he gets with Kobe, he probably gets with Orlando. Now that I think about it.
If Orlando decided to pay him, what you have to remember, what they offered Shaq at first, he felt was market value and he was cool until he turned on the TV and saw Miami gave Alonzo Mourning all that money. And he was like, I know Alonzo Mourning's not better than me. And that's when Shaq was like, you got to come with better. Because the deal they offered him first, he felt was fair market value and he felt was a good deal till Alonzo Mourning got paid. That's when Shaq was like, nah, I need 100+.
Yeah, Kobe, I ain't gonna hold you. Think them first 3 championships, if they stay and work with Orlando, he gets maybe not 3, but he gets 2 in those 3 years with Orlando.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it, Mike's gone. They busted up the Rockets because they lost hellers when they got rid of Vernon Maxwell, and then they tried to do that old head shit when they brought
Clyde. They bought Clyde in. Clyde got a ring with them.
Yeah.
He was on that second team.
I'm talking about after that second team.
Oh, well, they brought in Barkley and Scotty, and that did not work.
Yeah, that shit did not work.
But you have to remember, Scotty came in after the Bulls were done, after the breakup. Remember, they shipped everybody off. Randy Brown did not get any clock during the three-peat. And when Mike walked away, they traded Steve Kerr. Scotty went to Houston. Randy Brown was the starting point guard for Tim Floyd.
Did Rodman go to LA or something like that?
Ron Harper went to play for the Lakers. Rodman played for the Lakers for a minute. Ron Harper was on the first team that Shaq and Kobe won the title. Ron Harper was on that team. Horace was on that team. Like, Phil got a lot of guys who played with the Bulls to come commit.
Yeah, all them niggas was searching for shit because that last title they had, that last try that they had Karl Malone and shit. He was off the Jazz, so Even them niggas love finals
Well,
run.
Carmelo got hurt. Carmelo got hurt, but Carmelo also fucked up the locker room with that shit that he said to Kobe's wife.
White, yeah, trying to tag Kobe White.
Yeah, so that the what if game is always interesting. But we all I'm not gonna hold you. I thought the Magic were gonna win several titles. I did not see it ending like that. When they got swept by the Bulls in the 96 Eastern Conference Finals, it's like, okay, they'll be back. And then over the summer, Shaq went to LA. Remember, we were in the crib. We literally were in the crib when he signed. We were at your crib, and your mom was like, that's all right, because the Knicks about to get Charles Barkley. Remember, it was like people thought Barkley was going to end up on the Knicks.
Thought Shaq got swept in the finals too.
They got swept by the Rockets in '95.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was okay. So Mike came back that March, but he wasn't in playing shape because basketball shape and baseball shape is very different. Remember, so that's the series where Nick Anderson picked Mike Rock.
Stole the ball.
And then they said he's not the same in 45. And then Mike went and broke out the 23 and wore the Concord 11s for the first time. But the Magic still ended up winning that series in 6 because that's when they put Horace up on their shoulders. And Mike said he saw Horace up like the whole, I took that personal. When he saw them lift Horace up, he was like, nah, fuck that. Next year, I'm coming back determined. And that's when they went 72-10, and they swept their way through the Eastern Conference Finals. The Bulls did not lose a single game in the Eastern Conference playoffs in 95-96. They didn't lose until Game 4 of the finals against the Sonics because they were up 3-0. The Sonics took Game 4 and 5, and the Bulls won in 6 on Father's Day back in Chicago. They were lights out in those playoffs. They were lights the fuck out. And I think Shaq
and they
looked
should
at
have
that.
never took Gary Payton off of that nigga. They had Gary Payton on him the first.
Gary Payton wanted
they put him on after he.
Yeah,
they put him on after, and that's how they won him.
I think Shaq looked around and said, "This ain't enough," or like, how much? Okay, so the money played a part, obviously, right? But do we also think he looked at the Magic and said this ain't enough, and also that him and Penny shit because he wanted to be the higher paid player? Because I think Penny was on a rookie deal, or they would have both still been on rookie deals. Who resigned first?
That came in 91. So
no, Shaq came in 92 because Chris Webber was the 93 draft. Because you remember Chris Webber called the timeout in the 93 national championship game. They didn't have one, and then he got drafted 3 months later, 2.5 months later. So Shaq was a rookie. So Shaq,
the rookie deal lasts 4 years? 3 years?
Now it's 3 or 4. Let's see. Who got paid first?
It had to be Shaq, right?
Had to be.
I think he must have taken a short deal. Shaq had to have taken a short deal. Hold on. The conflict by the summer of 96, the Magic prioritized Penny financially and in the team status, causing Shaq to test free agency. So I'm guessing Penny, they offered him an extension or something like that?
Yeah, they probably went to the extension for him because he would have still been on his rookie deal.
He definitely would have still been on his rookie deal.
He wouldn't have came in. If Shaq was 93, he wouldn't have came in to 94, 95.
No. Shaq was the 92 draft. He was number 1. Okay. Alonzo Mourning was number 2. And
Penny would have still been only 1 year in.
Yeah,
would have been his second year.
Penny got drafted in 93.
He was 93. He went 4th. Chris Webber went 1, and I think Penny went 3rd or 4th, and they swapped picks. So Penny's rookie season was 93-94, right when Mike walked away.
Yeah,
so by the time,
he got drafted 3rd overall.
Yeah, okay. Damn, so Shaq went 28-13-7 in those finals and shot 60% from the field.
God damn.
It wasn't his fault.
So it had to be everybody else's fault.
This is young Shaq when he was lean and could run 28-13-7.
Well, I mean, that's still fire, but that can't compare to the Shaq that was in LA. That was
well, right. When he was the most dominant. But that 28-13-7 against Hakeem?
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy, bro.
Are you talking about in the finals? I can tell you what it was. In the finals, them niggas couldn't stop the others. It was Robert Horry and Kenny Anderson.
Robert Horry, Kenny Anderson, Mario Ellie, yeah.
They could not stop them niggas. Them niggas was lighting them up from the outside.
And Clyde. So here's a story from CBS Sports. Back in 1996, I was working as a consultant with Shaq's agent, Leonard Armato, who was my former boss before I went on my own to help form another agency. This consultant position gave me a front row seat for probably the most botched negotiation on the part of an NBA team that I can recall in my 16-year career in the athlete representation business. There's no way Orlando should have lost O'Neal. Everything was stacked in its favor to keep him. Everything for one very specific, very unexpected change to the collective bargaining agreement, which was all the opening the Lakers needed to ultimately lure Shaq by way of probably the single most brilliant salary cutting measure the NBA has ever seen. They traded Vlade. They traded Vlade to make room. They traded Vlade to the Hornets and got Kobe, and they cut salary, giving them the room to sign Shaq. That's what it was. There was no maximum salary cap provision in the CBA. There was a salary cap, $24.3 million to be exact. No max salary, no luxury tax penalty. Both were products of the 98 lockout. This is important. This meant that Orlando, which owned Shaq's bird rights, could thus exceed the cap to re-sign its own player, which they refused to do. While everyone else had to get him under the cap, which in many cases meant a full roster gutting, could have thrown a blank check at Shaq and not even incurred the luxury tax they would today. I believe, ended the negotiation before it started, but they didn't do that. Instead, they lowballed him almost offensively. Well, they had them people calling in from Orlando, the fans, like nobody's worth $100 million. And Shaq took that personally as a motherfucker. There's some aspects of Shaq's free agency that I remember like they happened yesterday. The initial offer is one of them, $54 million over 4 years with none of the yearly salary specified. A far cry from the 7-year, $105 million deals that Alonzo Mourning and Juwan Howard, both appreciably inferior players, had just received the Miami Heat and Washington Bullets. And Juwan Howard, who the fuck did he was out of there like really quickly after that, wasn't he? Because they tried to put him and Chris Webber back together. And then eventually Chris Webber, that's when they sent Chris Webber to Sacramento, if I remember correctly. That wasn't even the worst part. Okay, so the Magic offered $13.5 million per year with no opt-out, as Shaq wanted something closer to $20 million a year with an opt-out after year 3. It's a low offer, but not the first time two sides have been far apart in initial negotiations. The more baffling part of the call, and I'll never forget this, was the Magic, I guess in an attempt to create some kind of leverage, actually criticized O'Neal's rebounding and defense. When you have a player of Shaq's caliber, a guy who in his first 4 years in the league had already won Rookie of the Year, a scoring title, been named All-NBA 3 times, been a runner-up for league MVP, and led Orlando to the finals after knocking off Michael Jordan, not to mention made a habit of doing things like breaking backboards, you tell that guy he's the greatest since sliced bread. You bend over backwards to get a deal done with him. Instead, the Magic decided it was a good time to criticize major parts of Shaq's game. This is done all the time in baseball because you would have to go to arbitration if you feel like you're owed more money, because in baseball, you are tied. There's no rookie deal. You are tied from it's 6 years and your time in the minor leagues doesn't count. Let's say you spend 2.5 years in the minor leagues. Your 6 years don't start until you actually crack the major league roster and stay on the roster. So you could be hot as fish grease. It don't matter. They still have you for 6 years, and they can either trade you, you can go to arbitration, and then you get in front of a judge and say, I deserve X amount because this is what I did. And then the team is going to point out all of your deficiencies. Well, he didn't really do well batting on the road in late games. He hit .230 in innings 7, 8, and 9. He hit .156 against left-handed pitching on the road in night games. They're going to point out every deficiency. So I get what the Magic were doing, but you don't do that in the NBA. Shaq is a commodity. He's a once-in-a-lifetime player. There's Shaq, there's Mike, there's Bron, there's Magic, there's Larry, there's KD, even Steph. Those are the guys you're supposed to say, even Ant Edwards at this point. A lot of other niggas like, yo, you bugging the fuck out. But anybody on that list, if they want to fuck your daughter, you kind of got to let them, you know what I'm saying?
Damn, nigga.
Hey, am I wrong?
I mean, no, not for real.
Let's call a spade a spade. You just call a spade a spade. If Kevin Durant wants to fuck your daughter, let's go back to the summer of 2016, and OKC is trying to desperately get Kevin Durant to stay. You don't call a hooker for Kevin Durant. You don't call a strip club for Kevin Durant.
Yeah, shit. I ain't gonna hold you. You do anything possible to keep that nigga from going
we breaking out the big guns. Who was your crush when you were a kid? Kelly Kapowski? Get her on the phone, all right? You cannot let a player like that. So this goes on. This is very interesting. Never mind, Shaq averaged more rebounds per game during his 4 years with Orlando, 12.5, than he did in his 8 years with the Lakers, 11.8. And that's not the point. It's the principle. The respect factor. Can you imagine the Thunder going into their meeting with Kevin Durant and saying, yeah, Kevin, you're a great scorer and all, but about that ball handling and defense? That's nuts. That was the tone Orlando set for this negotiation. The problem is the Magic were only, 7 years in existence when Shaq came up for free agency? They didn't know what the fuck they were doing. They had a bunch of guys who came together to create the Orlando Sports Commission to get a team. They didn't have anybody that worked in the front office that really knew what they were doing, and that's where they fucked up. The Magic didn't seem to appreciate that Shaq was a franchise-altering talent, even though he had already completely altered theirs. 96 free agent class was star-studded. Future Hall of Famers, Jordan Mourning, Dikembe Mutombo, Reggie Miller, Gary Payton, Dennis Rodman were all in the open market, yet it was O'Neal who was considered the crown jewel. Shaq was. Once Shaq moved, that's when all the other pieces fell in place. At that time, the prevailing championship formula in the NBA was that if you didn't have Jordan, you needed a dominant big man. O'Neal was considered a modern-day Wilt Chamberlain who hadn't even reached his potential yet. The Magic had him right in their hands, the centerpiece of a budding powerhouse, and they took him for granted out the gate, lowballed him, questioned his game. In a sense, Orlando positioned itself as an antagonist to Shaq rather than an organization that was entirely in his corner, even saying on the initial call that they needed to maintain financial flexibility for Penny Hardaway's free agency a couple years down the road, signaling to our representation team that Shaq wasn't the full priority we expected him to be. It was about this time that we really started to consider alternatives as something other than backup plans. Finding these potential Shaq suitors and seeking out CBA loopholes to play O'Neal's financial advantage were primary responsibilities. The idea was this: identify the teams that could get to at least $9 million under the cap without gutting the roster to offer a 7-year, $100 million contract voidable after 3 years. When Shaq would have had bird rights with these teams and could thus opt out to take advantage of his presumably increasing value. If he left Orlando, his preference was going to a big market. There weren't many teams that fit all these requirements, and this is the list we came up with. The New York Knicks. This was a long shot from the start, as it was contingent on New York being able to trade Patrick Ewing, which would have been a disaster. Sterl, you with us? What's going on? Hold on, we lost Sterl for a second.
I think you let it up. There you back.
Okay. Thought we lost you for a second. Okay. The New York Knicks, this is a long shot from the start, as it was contingent on the New York being able to trade Patrick Ewing. The Knicks also went after Jordan, who promptly re-signed with the Bulls on a 1-year, $30 million deal. Mike was knocking out them 1-year deals. $30 million? $30 million, but he was Michael fucking Jordan. The market was there, but moving Ewing was never really an option. And when they signed free agent Allen Houston for $56 million over 7 years, the cap situation became unworkable. Nothing ever really materialized. Detroit Pistons. This is interesting. Detroit was attractive because of the 1995 NBA Co-Rookie of the Year, Grant Hill, who had already earned All-NBA honors in his brief pro career. Allen Houston was also starting to emerge, and the thought of putting Shaq with a scorer like Hill and a shooter like Houston was attractive. When Houston made his move to New York, the pie-in-the-sky scenario went with him. Plus, frankly, the Pistons never really showed much interest in making a deal for Shaq happen. Detroit was out. Miami Heat. The Heat had the most roster flexibility, potentially the best cap situation of the bunch, but renouncing the rights to Mourning, who was already a free agent, to wipe out his cap hold of 150% of his 95-96 salary is going to be a necessity. Mourning became a central barometer for all of our negotiations. Mourning had gone number 2 in the 92 draft right behind O'Neal, and their careers have been linked ever since. Casually put them in the same conversation as big men, but Mourning wasn't the player Shaq was. And Alonzo Mourning was that dude, but he was no Shaq. Not even close. And we can all agree on that.
Nowhere near close.
When Miami signed Mourning to the aforementioned 7-year, $105 million deal, not only did it end any chance of O'Neal going to the Heat, it also served as an easy benchmark contract for Shaq's personal market. Like I said, Alonzo Mourning got that money and set the market for Shaq. No way was O'Neal going to get a penny less than Mourning. And in fact, Armando was adamant that O'Neal gets substantially more than Mourning, for he did not see them as anything close to the same class of player. And he was right. Atlanta. This is interesting. How the Hawks ended up on this list, I don't know. Atlanta wasn't on our initial list. The Hawks quickly became a viable option when I, along with a colleague, took the call from current Los Angeles Dodgers CEO and President Stan Katzen about the Hawks' interest in Shaq. Katzen, who was president of both the Hawks and the Braves at the time, indicated that the merger between Hawks owner Ted Turner's broadcasting companies, CNN and Time Warner, will be able to generate significantly ancillary income for Shaq. On the basketball side, he viewed Shaq as the missing piece to a championship, and Atlanta was comfortable offering him a 7-year deal averaging somewhere between $10 and $15 million per year. He was not, however, interested in breaking up much of his team to do so. This is kind of crazy to look back on, but in 96, Caston considered Mookie Blaylock and Christian Laettner to be the Hawks' foundational players. They weren't going anywhere. That's crazy. 2 players from another group consisting of Stacey Augmon, Alan Henderson, Grant Long, and free agent Steve Smith also needed to be retained. This was a snag. After running all the numbers, Smith, an all-star caliber player, was probably the odd man out, and we didn't like the idea of losing Smith. Eventually, Atlanta, which had become a legitimate contingency option, fell completely out of consideration when it signed Dikembe Mutombo for 5 years at $50 million. This picture of Shaq standing next to Mourner is like somebody standing next to their little brother. And Alonzo Mourner's not a small nigga. This is crazy.
Hell no, that nigga 7 foot tall too. So yeah.
Orlando was dragging its feet. Most other options were falling off our list. Only one team remained a true threat to lure O'Neal away from the Magic, and it would take a perfect storm of circumstances to pull it off, but a perfect storm was indeed brewing. The first move the Lakers made in an effort to position themselves better for Shaq was arguably the most significant draft day trade since the St. Louis Hawks. Since the draft, if the Hawks had never traded Bill Russell, we'd still have a team in St. Louis. Since draft rights to Bill Russell to the Celtics in a piece of cost-cutting brilliance, the Lakers sent veteran center and fan favorite Vlade Divac to the Hornets in a move that not only netted them 18-year-old Kobe Bryant, but also the $3.3 million of extra cap space his rookie deal afforded them. In hindsight, this has to be one of the biggest steals in NBA history. Lakers actually saved money by trading for a guy who will probably go down as one of the 10 best players in history. In doing so, the Lakers have now become a real threat, maybe the biggest threat to secure Shaq, who was clearly interested in joining such a storied franchise. The day after my talk with the Hawks, Armando briefed us on a sit-down meeting he had with Lakers Jerry West, who had formally offered Shaq $95.5 million over 7 years with an option to terminate after 3. So that would mean Shaq was able to terminate his deal after the 99 season, and that's where they go and get Phil. And that's why he didn't. Okay. Lakers had an interest in getting the deal done quickly so they could re-sign Eldon Campbell. Having Campbell's bird rights meant the Lakers would go over the cap to sign him. They couldn't do that for Shaq, so they needed to get Shaq under the cap first and then add Campbell's salary. Still, Armando rejected the initial offer of $90.5 million over 7. It was the best deal that was on the table, but still below Mourning's deal, and that's not enough. At this point, West said he was willing to trade George Lynch for a draft pick to be able to further sweeten Shaq's deal, and all the while, he was really pitching the Lakers as a franchise stressing their history with dominant big men George Mikan, Wilt, and Kareem. Their winning tradition and his own ability to build championship teams with Eddie Jones, Cedric Ceballos, Nick Van Exel, and Kobe Bryant on board. Lakers were a promising young team that were coming off a 53-win season. LA was closing strong. At this point, the Magic were more or less doing what we just saw Miami Heat do to Dwayne Wade this summer, offering not what Shaq deserved, not what would be commiserate with his value to the franchise, but rather only reacting to what other teams were willing to pay. At this point in his career, Wade is clearly not the player. This is from a couple of years ago. After all, instead of immediately upping their offer after the Jordan, Howard, and Mourning signings, it was only when the Lakers dealt Lynch and Anthony Pillar to Vancouver, thus freeing up more cap space to pay Shaq, the Magic revised their position. They presented Armando with 2 options: a 4-year deal at $64 million, up from the original 54, or a 7-year deal at $109 million with an opt-out after year 4 rather than 3, which was Shaq's preference. Slipping away, Orlando was haggling over an opt-out year. We had just seen the Bulls give their franchise player a 1-year deal that was some $6 million more than the entire salary cap on its own. Shaq wasn't Michael Jordan. Nobody was, but he was definitely perceived as the next great superstar. The way we saw it, the Lakers made their offer. The Magic could have just jumped in and blown everyone out the water, just as they could have from the start. This thing would have been over. But again, they didn't. They wouldn't go to $20 million per year over the longer deal. They were nitpicking the opt-out year. They were trying to effectively offer dummy money in the way of not likely to be earned incentives, such as Shaq, a historically horrible free throw shooter shooting 60% from the line, which incidentally he only did one time in his career. In essence, they were sealing their own fate with their stubbornness. So they were trying to give him money based on incentives. They didn't get it. They didn't get it. It was right about this time the final nail got driven in the Magic's coffin. The poll heard around Orlando. To be fair to the Magic, it's not like the kind of money Shaq was asking for was peanuts. At the time, there were only $200 million plus contracts in the league, Juwan Howard and Alonzo Mourning. I love Juwan Howard to death, but Juwan Howard should not have got $100 million, especially not in 1996. That's crazy. And I love Juwan Howard to death, but no.
Yeah, nah, I don't see it. I never really seen it with him. I mean, I know he was the shit
at Michigan.
Yeah, Michigan, yeah. I didn't see it with him either. Like, I forgot that he played, to be honest with you.
So yeah, they said that this last part is the Orlando Sentinel conducted a poll asking whether Shaq was worth $115 million. At that time, you could have asked that question about any player, probably including Jordan, and the fans would have said no. I mean, if anybody was worth $100 million, it was for Shaquille O'Neal. Point blank, period. Like, I don't know how this is a question. I remember when this came up with the Cardinals, when Albert Pujols, like, well, he shouldn't get that kind of money. He's Stan Musial. Like, what are we talking about? He's the modern day Stan Musial.
Yeah, for sure.
The Cardinals should have paid Pujols. He should have never spent those years he spent in that Angels uniform. So I don't know. Orlando is actually, what is Orlando's record right now? They're pretty good right now.
Nah, they was good last year. They ran into
They tapered
injuries like
off?
crazy this year.
Oh,
Yeah.
what is Banchero doing? Is he hurt?
He was hurt. That's what I'm saying. He was hurt. They got them two brothers. I forgot them white boys, and then the better of the two brothers, he was hurt at a different times. Yeah, next year they'll be a lot better. When they get a full season with everybody.
All right, well, lesson learned. You just never really. Orlando only got back to the finals one time. That was in 2009. They lost to the Lakers, which is poetic justice in itself. At some point, maybe they'll figure it out. But you had Shaq. Not only like the Magic were playing, they were a regular on NBA on NBC. They were nationally televised. Like Shaq and Penny, and then Penny got hurt, and it just never was the same. And then Dwight Howard was supposed to be the second coming, and then they up and lose Dwight Howard to the Lakers as well. You just got to learn from your mistakes. In other NBA news, y'all been keeping up with this KD shit?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That nigga, I don't know. I don't know if I believe it or not, but I mean,
Okay,
go ahead and talk.
The Houston Rockets held a team meeting in late January regarding Kevin Durant's online behavior. A Rockets staffer saw Durant tweeting from a burner account before practice, which prompted the meeting. A Kevin Durant stormed out of the meeting after just a few minutes. KD has been caught from that burner multiple times. I 100% believe this. So there's a thread of all the shit. So the account is called Get Off My Dickerson. This nigga said, I can't trust.
This nigga's so stupid, though.
Yo, crazy, right?
What's wrong with that dude, man?
I can't trust Jabbar to make a fucking shot or get a stop. Somebody said, just don't give him a tech. Get Off My Dickerson said he's low-key R word. You can't really say that word anymore. Coach called that play to pass to Alpy. I'm going to turn the ball over with this shitty-ass team. I don't give a fuck. Your franchise player can't shoot or defend. That's a way bigger issue than my turnovers. Remember, these guys are your future. These Rocket fans are hurt and starting to. They don't show anything after that. I think this. Okay. Wait. Nope. That was the last one. So, look, I 100%. Everybody's like, no, it's not real. I'm like, dog, KD's been caught tweeting from burner accounts before. Like, he's been caught tweeting fans, dogging him, like, and then jumping in to defend himself. What do we expect? We don't expect anything less from Kevin Durant. I know I sure in the fuck don't. He's part of the rainbow. Like, I hate to say this because Jesse Jackson just died. He's in the Rainbow Coalition at this point. It's him, Shaq, Russ, James Harden. They've worn so many uniforms in the league that they damn near have worn every color of the rainbow. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, Chris Paul,
that's another one.
That shit is crazy. I understand Ball, Slim Reaper, this, and that. Some of that shit, bro, I punch KD in his motherfucking head. You just ain't gonna be getting that shit off. And I'm supposed to take it and be cool with it. Hell no.
Look, man, I love KD, but he's a classic example of somebody who doesn't know how to get out of their own way. Him, there's a lot of people who can't, like KD and Russ for sure. Actually, KD, Russ, and Harden. Not a single one of them knows how to get out of their own way. The only difference is that KD has, 2 rings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what nobody say. I don't even count
Russ
them.
Russ don't have a single ring. What'd you say, Sterl?
I don't even count them rings.
Yeah,
Well, he was the MVP.
Nobody say.
He was the MVP of the finals both times he won it with Golden State.
I hear you. It's easy to be the MVP
when they got to
you can't double team me.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I double teaming you for? And I can't leave Steph or Clay.
You couldn't leave Clay at that moment neither. Clay was hot as fish grease.
At that point, you still all Draymond had to do was handle the ball and make passes. Like you can't. Yeah, it's if KD gets to ISO all day long, you got him right.
Okay, so let's go back to the topic we just discussed. Kobe said, if Shaq and Penny don't split up, how many titles do the Magic win? Same question. Go Oklahoma City.
They
don't split up.
If they don't split up.
If they were still young, but they get one together. I don't know if KD gets his too, but they were still young. They made it to the finals. The Heat spanked them pretty
Which
handily.
They were supposed to do. That was Bron and D-Wade. I wouldn't even say D-Wade was truly in his prime, but Bron was the best basketball player on the planet when those 4 years he was in Miami. He was
automatic.
What'd you say?
They was up in those games. They lost them games in the last minute of the game. They
were young. They didn't know how to win. They didn't know how to win.
They didn't know how to win. Yeah.
Just like the Bulls didn't know how to get past. Like, you got to remember, the Bulls were up on the Pistons, and then the Pistons would just wear you the fuck down. Like, you got to look at that Miami team that was around them. They weren't great. Like, when they got Ray Allen, so Ray Allen was a great piece to add afterwards. Mario Chalmers,
Mario was hitting big shots.
Mario was. What's the other boy name? Coles. Like, Mike Miller hit some big shots, but they weren't.
Juwan Howard. Juwan
Howard never stepped on the floor.
No, it was another dude.
It was that nigga. It was old boy from Duke, Shane Battier.
Shane Battier,
yeah, Shane Battier, yeah.
They had a lot of dudes take veteran minimum just because they was like, this is my best chance to get a ring.
But see, that was the best thing. They put the best people around D-Wade and LeBron. What you needed was, from your 4 to your 1, you needed spot-up shooters, because LeBron and D-Wade was going downhill. And once they double, you kick it out. You got to pick your poison. You gonna let me dunk on you, or these niggas going to get hot.
You need a Mike Miller to knock down a shot.
Dwight Howard had them niggas shooting jump shots, though. They weren't going in that paint when he was in there.
Before Dwight got hurt, arguably, he you know, the thing about Dwight that really bothered me, like, I was happy when the Lakers got him, but the more he played, I was like, he's not a Laker guy, dog. The problem with Dwight is, if Dwight was playing in, like, modern times, he would be Juju Smith-Schuster, a nigga making TikToks. Tell me I'm wrong.
Yeah, he was just dancing and smiling.
If the Lakers would have got Dwight, then
he was more mature by that time. Yeah,
he was more mature. He just wasn't mature enough to play with Kobe. Everything serious. Everything is ball. I don't want to hear none of that joking, playing shit. That's not him. LeBron is gave him a little more leeway to kind of be himself.
LeBron is a team guy. Not to say that Kobe, rest in peace, wasn't a team guy, but LeBron is the type, like, all right, we gonna meet up at the restaurant after this. We gonna go to the club after this. Kobe is gonna go out with niggas, but Kobe was gonna be there like 5 minutes out, and he like, yo, I'm gonna take care of the check. Y'all boys have fun, but get home at a decent hour and get some sleep because we got practice in the morning. Like they said, when the Lakers won that first title, Kobe, they were like, how long did you celebrate? He was like, I took like 2 weeks off, then I got back to work. Like, you 21 years old, you just won the NBA title, you got a young, beautiful wife, you are in LA, you took 2 weeks off, and then you got your ass right back in the gym. That's the determination. And Bron works hard too, don't get me wrong, because nobody should be playing at that level at Bron's age. Like, let's be very clear. But Kobe was like, that was the issue with him and Shaq. Not so much now whose team is it, that was the issue too, but also Kobe didn't like the way that he busted ass in the gym half the day, and Shaq showed up fat and lazy and had to play himself in the shape.
Well, it was also a difference. You got to think, most of these people that you're talking about, that's go, Kobe's the only one that's just not naturally gifted. Kobe had to work for everything. Jordan, freak of nature. Shaq, freak of nature. LeBron, freak of nature. That nigga Kobe, Gilbert Arenas said it the best. All these niggas are Bugattis with Bugatti engines. Kobe was, let's just say, a Ferrari body kit or whatever with the Bugatti engine. He had the engine, but the natural gift, he didn't have the huge hands, the big hands.
Mike has bigger shoulders. Kobe's an inch taller than Mike, but Mike had bigger hands, bigger shoulders, all that.
Yeah, I think he had a bigger vert too, right? He was
more stronger.
He had a better vert too, right?
Yeah, Mike.
Well, shit, Mike had a 50.
Yeah, Mike was different. But Bron,
LeBron had a 50. You know what I'm saying? So it was different. So that nigga Kobe had to put that work in because he was chasing the shadow of Mike, and he knew for him to get there, he couldn't take no days off.
Not a single one. I tell you what, though, as much as I hated the Miami Heat during the Heatles era, watching Bron play ball during that era, that was something, boy. It was like watching Derrick Rose before the injuries. You know what I'm saying? Like, Derrick Rose before the injuries was something. LeBron, those 4 years in Miami, hands down, there was not a better ball player on the planet than that man. Bron was
besides that mental breakdown that first year he had against Dallas. I don't know what the fuck he had going on. But them other 3 years.
Dirk went through some teams to win that title, though.
Yeah, that was by far the best finals run.
Dirk sent the
that somebody
Lakers home. Who else did he send home that to go
sent
to
the
the
Lakers,
OKC.
OKC,
Yep.
then the Spurs, then the Heat.
Shit, that might be the best road to a finals.
It's not even mine. It's nowhere near. It's the best. It's by far
yeah.
the best. He sent so many motherfucking Hall of Famers home. It was ridiculous.
And he was sick.
That's what it was, and that ticked him off. Everybody's got a limit. When Bron and Wade was joking about him claiming it, like he claimed he's sick, when they was joking, Dirk got active. Dirk got active, and that may be that, and the fact that they didn't show up in Game 6. Those are gonna be stains. Like, well, at the same time, Bron has what, 4 titles? 2 in Miami, 1 in Cleveland, 1 with the Lakers, and he's lost how many times?
6.
That's crazy. But the funny thing is, he's only 1 off from Magic. Magic is 5-5 in the NBA Finals, but nobody ever brings that up. Nobody ever brings that up. Magic is still universally loved across the whole league.
I think Duncan like what, 5-2?
Something like that.
5-1?
Duncan was on every Spurs team that won a title, and they lost to Miami 1 year.
I forgot who they were. The Pistons, wasn't it?
No, they got the Pistons. Duncan is 5-1. Duncan is 5-1. He's only lost 1 NBA Finals, and that was to the Heat. And then they got them the year after that. That's the year Kawhi went crazy in the finals guarding Bron. And then Bron went back to Cleveland. Yeah. Duncan only lost 1 in the finals.
LeBron's run and he lost to Dallas.
He bookended it.
OKC.
He lost his first one. They won 2 in the middle, and then he lost the last one.
Yeah, he lost to Dallas, beat OKC, beat the Heat.
Spurs.
I mean, beat the Spurs, and he lost to the Spurs.
To the Spurs, yeah, he bookended. Yeah, Tim Duncan is 5-1 in the finals. He was on every team, every San Antonio team that won, and then they lost that 1 year to the Heat. Give me y'all top 5 championship teams. It don't have to be NBA, just any sport.
Any sport championship team?
Yeah.
I'll let you
Basketball, I'm gonna go with, we're talking personal or just overall?
Just overall. Or it can be personal. It don't have in no particular
that
order.
Rams Super Bowl team in either 2000 or 2001.
99, 2000. It was my senior year of high school.
Them niggas was untouchable that year. Untouchable. Obviously, you could pick your poison with any of those Bulls 6 championships. I guess the 90. What was it? 78 and
72 and 10.
72 and 10 team. I would say that's probably the better one out of them. Ball, I'm not really for sure on that, but yeah, those are my top two right there.
Who you got?
I got the Giants when they beat the undefeated Patriots.
Okay.
And I got Philly. When they beat Philly when they beat it Kansas City. Was it Kansas City?
When Kendrick performed at halftime?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Philly.
I got for the NBA. I got KG now. When they beat Kobe the first time, then they played twice, and Kobe beat him the second time.
Mm-hmm.
I got that team, and I got Clemson and Alabama in the championship.
Okay.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
All right, I got 95, 96 Bulls, 98 Yankees team. That team was unfucking stoppable. 88 Showtime Lakers, 96, 97 Red Wings, and the 2016, 2017 Pats. That's the team that came back from down 28-3 to the Falcons in the Super Bowl. Sorry about that, bro. They had to go on the list. They had to go on the list.
You had to say all that.
They had to go on the list.
So yeah, I can see that.
Honorable mention for me was that Georgia-Bama game when they was in overtime.
Oh, the Tua game.
Yeah.
Where they took out Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts started the first half. Saban put in Tua at halftime, and they came back because that Georgia team played Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl, and we was beating the shit out of them. But Lincoln Riley is, Lincoln Riley, and we blew the rest of the game. Georgia won in overtime, and then Georgia started out thumping Bama in the national championship, and he put in 2, and everything changed.
Yeah, that was a crazy game right there.
Yeah, super crazy. Yeah, buddy, it's been some title runs, boy, for sure.
Who is the NBA final title this year?
The title. Let me see.
That's gonna be tough. That's really
this feels like a really open. Yeah, this feels like a really open field. This feels like a really open field.
It can fuck around and be Denver again. It can fuck around and be OKC again. Yeah, the Pistons look really good, but I still think they're too young. And whoever's going to win is going to be from the West.
Spurs.
It can
No.
fuck around and beat us.
No,
They
not
still
the
young.
Spurs yet. But when the Spurs get to that point, it's Wemby's league for a minute. That he's gonna get, unless barring him having a bad team around him or barring a crazy injury, I think Wemby gets at least 3, bro. He is different. He is fucking different.
Well, the thing that makes him, obviously, he's a freak of nature, but he's a freak of nature with a competitive edge.
Yes.
That nigga wants to win, and he wants to win now. So I can see him in the next. If he don't get it this year, in the next by next year, motherfuckers is gonna have a problem.
Right.
That team is gonna be a problem.
And he got handles. Nigga like 7'12" got handles.
Got handles. That nigga got a long shot. He's starting to get in the post more. Defense is just, I mean, that goes without saying. That nigga's a problem.
Yeah. San Antonio's the front office, their only job is to put an adequate team around him.
They got the team around him now. They just need to make their way to the finals. They're gonna get spanked in the finals just like Boston did when they made it and couldn't get over the hump over the who did they play Golden State. That next year they came back, spanked motherfuckers. Once they get to the finals once and get that loss under their belt, it's over for them. They got the team around him right now. They got everything they need.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown still got his hair rubbing off. Got his spray still rubbing off on people's jerseys.
Yeah, that nigga just need to go on ball. I don't know what
Please
he's doing,
give it up.
bro.
Give it up. Please give it up. The Knicks. What happens to the Knicks
this year?
Next 2 years.
Knicks.
They fall short again this year. They might make it to. I don't even see them making it to the finals.
They might make it to the second round.
They 1 or 2 pieces short. I know I know everybody thought that Cat pickup was gonna be. Cat is not what they think they
sure in the
think
fuck
they got.
ain't. And they tried to move him at the trade deadline and nobody bit.
That
Cat's
nigga
not a dog. He's not a dog.
Yeah, he a dog. Maybe it might be a little Shih Tzu or something, but he ain't the dog
I'm talking
they
about
need.
like Jimmy Butler is a fucking dog. Michael Jordan was a dog. Bron in Miami was a dog. Bron in Cleveland was a dog. Fucking Draymond Nutass is a dog. Ant Edwards is a dog. Trey Young, not a dog. Klay Thompson, not a dog. Anthony Davis, not a dog. Cat, not a dog. I want a killer. I remember when the Bulls got Levine, everybody's like, no, y'all got a shooter. I'm like, look, Zach Levine is a great ball player. He's not a dog. He's not a killer. If Zach Levine is coming down the court with 10 seconds on the clock, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid.
I need Philly to go ahead and let Tyrese Maxey go. He out there playing by himself.
They got to figure it out because that trust, that Paul George move was bad. Now this trust the process.
They could get rid of Paul now because I'm telling you, him and old boy, the rookie, or was he a rookie? Yeah, he was a rookie this year. He's a rookie this year. Them 2 niggas is fire together. That's their backcourt for the foreseeable future.
You talking about
BJ?
Yeah,
they held on to Embiid too long. They should have sold that nigga, got rid of that nigga when they could have got some viable pieces for him.
Watch what happens. If there's nothing I know, it is the failures of the front office of the Chicago Bulls. They are going to offer a bag of beans or somebody who's going to turn out to be a really good player for somebody like, or a couple somebody's who's going to turn out to be good players for somebody like Embiid. I'm surprised they didn't do it for Anthony Davis, who was past his prime. Like, the Bulls are known for bringing in just absolute dudes who are done. There was one time where they brought in some players and they actually could have got some. The Bulls were up in that. I don't know who they were playing in the series. I can't remember. They were up and then Rondo got hurt and it was a wrap after that. We were up in the series. DeMar DeRozan, they could have you could try to make him stick around. If they'd have kept DeMar DeRozan and Levine and added a serious player, they could at least made a deep playoff run.
Yeah,
you talking about Rose got hurt?
Say what?
You talking about when Rose got hurt? When they had him in the game?
talking about when
we had Rondo,
when that nigga D-Wade, Rondo.
That's right. Yep.
Okay.
And I think Jimmy was still on that team. That was Jimmy's last year. Because
Yep.
Jimmy's the one that brought D-Wade over there.
Sure in the fuck was. Because they was sitting together playing spades. It was D-Wade, Gabrielle Union, and Jimmy Butler playing spades when Jimmy found out he was being traded. Sure in the fuck was.
Yeah.
Then
That
Wade
was a
went to
nice little
Cleveland
squad.
that year, right?
Wade went to Cleveland the year after.
Oh, the year after. Okay.
And then got sent right back to motherfucking Miami in the middle of the season. Because that year Cleveland had Wade, they had D Rose,
They
Darren
sure
Williams.
did have D Rose off the. Yes, that's right.
Squad.
They was trying to build like the former Avengers to take down
And
Golden State.
They could not put it together. Them niggas could not get it together.
The best team that had the best shot to beat Golden State was the Rockets with Chris Paul and James Harden.
But the Rockets,
And
they tried to
Chris Paul got hurt. Chris Paul got hurt.
And the
Yeah,
Rockets,
he got
James Harden. Yep, sure in the fuck did. Oh, I remember when he pulled the hammy. Oh my God.
James Harden was not showing up, and Chris Paul was busting their ass.
Yeah,
and that nigga pulled that hammy, and it was over. He was torching them niggas.
I think it was like the fourth quarter, like 5 minutes left when he pulled it.
The Rockets were up. They were up.
They just needed one game.
If the Rockets win that series, that might have eliminated the Golden State Dynasty.
It ain't no might have. They would have, because that was the second title. That was their second one.
Was that when they got KD or when they lost to? Was that the year?
KD was on their team. That was their first title with KD. That was their first one.
Title. Okay, so yeah.
If they lose that, if Golden State loses that first one, KD's either gone the next season. They don't try again. Or
he signed a 3 or 4 year deal though, right? Because they won 2 titles. It had to be at least a 3. They won 2 when he was hurt, and then remember Clay also.
He left after the second. They won 2, and they went back for the third one, and he got hurt.
He got hurt, and then Clay got hurt too.
Yeah, well, Clay got hurt first, and then KD got hurt.
Yeah, because he missed the whole next season after that, right?
Mm-hmm. But he was gone though. They traded him.
Yeah, he was in Brooklyn.
That's
him and Kyrie was in Brooklyn.
He left because he left at free agency.
It was a 3-year deal.
Because you remember, he was already on the verge of talking about leaving, because remember he had got into it with
Draymond.
With Draymond, and he called him all kind of bitches and shit.
And he was in the locker room like, nigga, go ahead and leave. We don't need you anyway. We all know you leaving at the end of this year.
Yeah, so he was gonna leave after that third one anyway. If they lose that first one, they may trade that nigga before then.
No, they would have traded Draymond. Somebody was gonna go. They weren't gonna give up KD. Somebody else was gonna go, but it wasn't gonna be KD, Steph, or Clay. So at that point, even though at that point him and Draymond didn't have issues, Draymond was the odd man out.
And I'm telling you, if they get rid of Draymond, even with them 3, they still don't win. They don't win.
He was.
They needed all of them to win.
Yeah. Draymond was the enforcer of that defense.
They ran into LeBron twice, and then they ran into that year that that KD got hurt. They ran into Kawhi in Toronto, and he torched their ass. So if they lose that first one, that second one that they play, if they lose that first one to us, which was Cleveland, that second one they would have won anyway, because that was the year
Cleveland. If Kyrie got hurt and Kevin Love got hurt.
Kevin Love got hurt.
Yeah. And LeBron drugged them to Game 6 with Matthew fucking Dellavedova. If K-Love and Kyrie are healthy, Golden State does not win that first title. They do not win that first title.
So that, regardless of the fact, them niggas are KD is a hamstring from we was just saying old boy fucked up his hamstring. Chris Paul and Kevin Love and Kyrie going out from he only has 1 title. Guaranteed. I guarantee it. Them
At
niggas,
this point, I just don't want to see the Denver Nuggets win again. I really don't. Like, I don't have disdain for Jokic. I don't know, man. I'm over the whole Nugget thing. Like, I could fucking do without.
I used to hate that shit. I used to hate him. But I got so much respect for his game now.
I respect his game.
Ridiculous.
I respect his game because all he want to do is ball. That's literally like, when they won that title, he was like, I can go home right now, right? And they was like, no, you got to stay for the parade. He was like, parade? Like, bro only wants to play ball. That's the thing I love and respect about Jokic. I just don't care for the rest of the Nuggets. And I'm happy Mike Malone ass got fired because I didn't care for him.
Yeah, I don't
It
fuck with that white boy at all. I ain't
motherfucker
gonna
could have
hold
said,
you.
"Oh, it's raining outside. Fuck the Lakers." It did not matter what was going on in the world. It was fuck the Lakers. We're in a $1 trillion deficit. Fuck the Lakers. Like, I could not stand Mike Malone. So, I don't know. But shout out to Jokic, man. He's a baller. He's a baller for sure. I don't ever want to see the Pistons. I'm not sorry, the Clippers. I don't ever want to see the Clippers prosper. So every time I hear the Clippers like that they're gonna take these picks and sit Kawhi down and find them, I'm just like, there's a God up there. There truly is a God up there. Trey Young, is it over? Like, do we really see him winning in DC?
I'm not gonna hold y'all. It's a far fetched thing if that nigga
He definitely make him
plays,
better.
if that nigga AD plays half the season with Trey Young, with them young pieces that they got over there, them niggas will be a top 5 seed in the West. I mean in the East next year. Guaranteed. Mark my word, I said it right here.
He definitely make him better.
I'm telling you. Them two being at the helm is just whether if AD stays healthy. If he it's 82 games. If that nigga can get a solid 60 games in, they're gonna be a top 5 seed in the East. They're gonna be something to reckon with. Because them young boys over there are crazy. They got some shooters. They got some defensive players. Um, they gonna have a squad with just what they did this year at this trade.
Right,
Don't
'cause
sleep on them niggas.
what he at now? They like, understand. Let me see.
It was a couple times I was just waiting for the Bulls to pull the trigger, like just go get Trey Young, and they just, I don't know what it
Because you
is.
got to think they got a low. I think the Wizards. I
They
don't mean
have
to
a
cut
ton
you
of
off. I
cap
think the
space.
Wizards. They not only do they have a ton of cap space, but they gonna get a low. They gonna get a high pick this year coming
Yeah,
up. They
I don't
might
know,
fuck around
man.
and be a top 3 pick this year.
I feel like Jerry Reinsdorf may have like sold his soul for those 6 titles, and the Bulls aren't allowed to win anymore because the stupid moves the front office make just don't make sense. Like it just doesn't make sense, bro. And people don't know the pain of being a Chicago Bulls fan. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, people do not understand the pain of being a Chicago Bulls fan. Just like the dumb ass mistakes, like being afraid to take a swing at like big trades, but then you trade away the only true assets you have. We had Noah in his prime, Taj Gibson, Derrick Rose, Tibbs left that nigga out there in the fourth quarter for whatever reason when the Bulls were up by like 15-20. Jay Williams hurting himself on the motorcycle and the team still being on the hook for the contract. Sending Jimmy Butler the fuck away, showing up to the LeBron meeting with the damn Jordans when it was already understood it was going to be LeBron, Bosh, and Wade in Chicago with D Rose and them fumbling the meeting. Like, dog, I could go on for hours at how inept the Bulls front office is. And they just get worse every time I turn around. And then all the rumors, they're going to get Anthony Davis. Didn't happen. They're going to get Zion. Zion wants to play in Chicago. Didn't happen. The Bulls are going to take a swing.
Zion may end up in Chicago. I think he'd have fucked his way. He'd have fucked his way up in.
Fucking your way out of New Orleans is crazy. Mariah Mills got that boy looking crazy.
Yeah, man. I think that nigga needs to be in a bigger market for him to kind of take shit serious. He may, now that they don't have nobody in Chicago, he may be. This is the time that they're gonna get him when they don't have nobody. Unfortunately,
it's just the pain of being a Bulls fan, dog. People just don't understand. I don't know. I just don't know, man. All right, Olympics. U.S. women's hockey team won gold today. Congrats to those ladies. Layla, first black woman to win a gold medal in ice hockey. Shout out to her. The men's team is in the quarterfinals. Boys look dangerous. They look really, really tough. Shout out to Hoogie Bear Quinn Hughes with that big goal in overtime yesterday. Those Hughes boys really play some hockey. Quinn and Jack on the team. I expect probably the next time the Winter Olympics, Luke should be on the team as well. We have nothing to look forward to until like we have March Madness coming. That's it. Pitchers and catchers have reported though.
We got the all season coming up for the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, this draft is going to be terrible. Cardinals are going to finish at the bottom of the Central Division, but we do have the number 2 farm system in the league now. So, I mean, I guess that's something to look at for the future, but we're going to be dog shit this year.
I'm so sick of that.
The Brent album. Anybody listen to the Brent Fires album?
I listened to
a couple songs in.
You can definitely tell it's a Pharrell album. There's some Prince inspired stuff on there. I'm fucking with it. I like the Brent album. Cole still in the
listen to it on
rotation?
the way to work. Nah, I listened to it one time.
You don't listen
I
to the
got-
Cole
Yes.
album one time?
Yeah, I gotta go back and listen to it. I've been
Oh,
trying
I
to listen to
love
so
that
much.
Cole album. I
I've
love
been
that
listening
Cole
to so
album.
much stuff, man. I've been trying to listen to that, the Don Toliver album. Oh,
I can't get into everybody pumping that Don. I
Don
cannot
Toliver,
get
I
into
just
it.
can't get into it either. I can't.
Not this one. I cannot get into this one.
then Baby King album drop it tonight.
Oh, it is. Baby Keem is out tonight. Apparently, rumor is he got a Frank Ocean collab on there. I don't know, which is crazy because ain't nobody seen Frank Ocean in God knows how long, and he's directing a
It's
film.
funny how that he's got a Frank Ocean collab. There's something coming up, and everybody's now putting Brent Baez over Frank Ocean, and now this nigga want to pop up.
I don't think it's true. Well, Baby King apparently tweeted Frank on the album. Somebody was like, nigga, you probably got Frank Sinatra for all we know. Frank Ocean ain't doing shit. He's directing a film for A24, so I don't know. Shout out to Frank though. Frank is dope. Frank is the Lauryn Hill of male R&B. Except he actually made a second album. And I guess if you count the Lauryn Hill Unplugged album, maybe you can count that. I don't know. He's like Lauryn Hill though, but he shows up for his shows on time or shows up and just doesn't fucking perform. Who the fuck knows? Shout out to Frank though. I'm a fan. Still a fan.
Yeah, buddy. Nigga got some classics for sure.
I don't know. I don't have anything else. Let me check my notes. I don't think I have anything else. Again, rest in peace, James Vanderbeek, Catherine O'Hara, Robert Duvall.
Yep.
Jesse Jackson,
Rest in
and
peace.
just a few moments ago, Eric Dane passed away, which is so that's another member of the Euphoria cast that is, passed on. Angus Cloud, who played Fezco, died either last year or the year before. So very interesting that Eric Dane passes away, a little over a month and a half before season 3 airs. But sending light and love to his family, well wishes to the Dane family. I don't have anything else. Y'all got anything else?
No, not for real.
I ain't got nothing for real either.
All right. Well, we will catch y'all next week. We got our first episode under the belt. We will catch y'all next week. Hopefully, the Brown Bomber herself, Rashawn, will be joining us next week. Fingers crossed. Again, sending prayers to her and the family. We're going to go ahead and log off, hop on out of here. I'm going to end this like I do things over on my platform. Believe in yourself first and foremost, because if you don't believe in yourself, of course, nobody else will believe in you. As always, my name is Derrick Lamont Jackson. That's Big Sterl. That's Killa Kolby. And we out of here. Peace.
Peace out.
Peace.